Hello, welcome to another English Sparkling with Tweedy video. Just a last minute purchase today, not very carefully planned. My cellar is running a bit dry on the ESW side of things, so I looked around some of my nearby shops. One of them occasionally sells Rathfinny. I know I have featured a few different vintages and different wines from Rathfinny before, but I don't think I've covered this. It's the 2019 vintage of their classic Cuve, and I think I did the 2018 before. And I know I've also done a couple of the mini Cuves, they call those 50 centilitre bottles. But I think this one sort of perhaps fell between the cracks. And if not, I doubt anyone remembers anyway. It's Friday afternoon. I do still have this habit of I really like having some fizz on a Friday afternoon to round out the working week. Although in my case, working just means sitting in front of a video editor these days. Oh, crikey, that's a bit lively. I have just finished a Tweedy Outdoors video, just edited, uploaded that. So I thought I would give myself the rest of the working week off. It's Friday, 4 p.m. Not really much of a saving, is it? Squandered a little bit of that on my ground sheet here, oh well. It's not the palest of colours because I think this is a predominantly Pinot based blend, mostly Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier and a little bit of Chardonnay. I'll put the stats on screen if I can, the exact breakdown if I can find it. On the nose, before any swirling, although it probably had some aeration from that slightly explosive opening there. I suppose there is something in the kind of stone fruit sort of territory there. It's a little bit more, gooseberries even a stone fruit? I don't know that they are. Green gages, sort of greenish plum, I would say. Stone fruit, but with a sort of greenish twinge to it. I know you can't smell green, but you know, the smell of green fruits rather than darker or reddish fruits. Give that a little bit of a swirl. Maybe a bit plummier now. The greenness sort of possibly has gone away slightly there. And yeah, plums, but on the drier side, and not a sort of sweet, thick, syrupy kind of plum aroma, a sort of dry, as I say, greenish kind of plum. On the palate, very dry. I think this is part of Rathfinny's house style that they tend to use very low dosage. Again, that information is probably on the website, so I can probably put the exact number of grams per litre of sugar added there. And I'm guessing this is right down at the bottom end of brut, somewhere around 6 grams a litre or possibly even slightly lower. And that gives it an elegance and a minerality. I feel like I overuse that word, but that sensation of almost slightly saline mineral water, sparkling mineral water sort of sensation. If you've ever owned a soda stream and just carbonated some tap water, there is a difference in flavour between a classic Perrier or something, a classic sparkling mineral water versus just tap water that is fizzy. It's that flavour that I'm trying to isolate. When I'm talking about minerality, it veers slightly towards saline, salty. There's a little bit more to it than that. There is more fruit character there, but it's elegantly dry. Again, I'm thinking of plums, possibly peaches actually. We might be veering towards peaches, but given everything is really quite low in sugar, it's more like a sort of, I don't know, a kind of peach flavoured mineral water. What I'm trying to say is it's a subtle, elegant nuance of peach rather than just drinking sort of syrupy, thick, fermented peach juice. Is there a peach base? I suppose peach schnapps isn't. It's nothing like Archer's peach schnapps. That presumably tastes of peaches, and so does this in some form, but there is a wide gulf. That's mainly down to sugar levels, I suppose. The acidity there is interesting. I would say it's not actually hugely zingy. It's dry in the sense that there isn't much sugar there, but it doesn't seem to exhibit a massive amount of acidity, which is interesting. The sensation I'm getting on the palate is much more mineral than acidity. And there are maybe edges there of maybe citrus peel, a tiny little bit of something like orange peel. That's sometimes something that I find Pinot Meunier contributes to a blend. Kind of have these subtly sort of orangey hints to it. So yeah, it's good. It's really dry. It's really elegant. The fruit is definitely there, but as I often say, fruit can sometimes be a bit harder to recognise and appreciate and enjoy in wines that are very low in sugar, because we're used to fruit tasting relatively sweet. Various types of fruit all have a certain amount of sugar in it, even the ones that are acidic. Even a lemon has a decent amount of sugar in it. It's sometimes harder to recognise fruit without the sugar, but I'm pretty sure we're getting peaches, plums, stone fruit there, but it's all very dry, all very elegant and quite mineral. I realise I haven't said anything about autolysis, which is interesting. I think there is a disgorgement date on the side here. It says 2024, March 2024. So I would guess if this came off the vines in the autumn of 2019, possibly sometime in tank, it's likely had about 4 years on the lees, which is a decent amount of time on the lees. I'm having trouble with my S's recently. I'm not picking up a lot of autolytic character there. I wouldn't say I miss it. I think there is enough that's sort of interesting and distinguished enough about this wine without it having to have the usual sort of seemingly obligatory brioche and croissant or whatever. I'm not sure I miss it. This is, I would say, more fruit driven, and that's, you know, generally a thing with English sparkling overall, isn't it? So fruity, stone fruit, but very dry, very elegant, and nice. Still a little bit of greenness though. That's the only thing, perhaps not 100% a fan of, is that slight, I don't know if it suggests to me that possibly this wasn't, compared to say 2018, a vintage that produced fruit to its absolute perfect level of ripeness that it could potentially achieve. So there's that slight hint of almost like green pepper, green bell peppers, green capsicum peppers. But that aside, an elegant, sophisticated, dry, fruity but dry and mineral sort of wine. Cheers.